They will never strike in daylight, not when you expect it. Betrayal begins not with a dagger, but with delay, with the soft erosion of loyalty disguised as silence. They do not oppose you openly, that would be too costly, too clear. They smile, nod, and let the edifice rot from within. Every empire falls not by fire, but by termites beneath the throne. Watch their absences more than their presence. The ally who is always unavailable when decisions must be made, who appears only when outcomes are safe, that is the early traitor. He waits for weakness to become irreversible, and then he appears not to rescue, but to seize what remains. Power is not only taken, it is abandoned, ceded piece by those who no longer believe in your rule. You must learn to see decay, not in defeat, but in doubt. Loyalty is not professed, it is proven in small acts, in silent alignment, in sacrifice when there is nothing to gain. A man loyal only when it suits him is not loyal. He is calculating, and calculation breeds betrayal the moment your value declines. They will betray you slowly, because rapid betrayal is a fool's gamble. The intelligent adversary undermines before he overthrows. He builds networks while pretending to serve. He compliments you while feeding discontent. He helps you win battles he knows you should never have fought, just to exhaust your resources. So many rulers fall not from defeat, but from erosion, a quiet campaign of misplaced trust, a toleration of mediocrity in their circle, a failure to enforce fear where loyalty falters. Compassion is not a virtue in the arena of power. It is a lever used against you when seen as weakness. You do not protect yourself by hoping for fidelity. You protect yourself by assuming every man has a price and ensuring that price is always tied to your survival. If his fortune is yours, his rise depends on your power, his ambition shackled to your favor, then betrayal becomes expensive. But if he can dream of victory without you, you have already lost. The signs are always there, the ones who ask too many questions without offering answers, the ones who echo your doubts instead of removing them, the ones who grow quiet in your presence, not from respect, but from internal division. These are not allies. These are cracks in the wall, waiting for the storm. Even the loyal are temporary. Circumstances mold men more than intentions. One day, even your closest ally may become a rival not because he hates you, but because he sees a better future that no longer includes you. In politics, friendship is not eternal. It is conditional, situational, and strategic. Trust, then, is not about character. It is about leverage. It is about design. You trust not the man, but the structure that binds his will to yours. And when that structure weakens through failure, through time, through external pressure, you must act. Delay is permission. Mercy is invitation. Betrayal, when it finally arrives, is not the beginning. It is the final act, a result, the outcome of many tolerated signs, many misread silences. The moment they turn on you, it is not sudden. It is simply visible. The performance is over. The masks fall. The knives show. Do not look for villains in betrayal. Look for miscalculations. Power is not lost because others are evil. Power is lost because you allowed the conditions for their ambition to flourish. You neglected their hunger. You believed their praise. You forgot that power, once held, must be fed with fear, with control, with relentless clarity. Leadership is not about being liked. It is about being necessary. And the moment you are no longer needed, no longer feared, no longer central to their gain, they will drift, they will scheme. They will test the boundaries of their allegiance. And if you do not push back, if you do not reassert your place, they will replace you. This is not cynicism, it is structure. The nature of rule is struggle. Stability is a performance that conceals war. The crown is not a reward, it is a target. The throne is not protection, it is exposure. And those who cannot see betrayal until it is complete are not victims, they are unfit. So study the signs. Watch how they walk into your chambers. Measure their words not by content, but by motive. question flattery, dissect hesitations, reward swiftly, punish surgically. Let them understand that betrayal is not worth the attempt, and yet prepare for it always. For even if you master all signs, all structures, all fears, some will still betray. Some will choose fire over order, ego over allegiance, chaos over loyalty. In those moments, do not weep, do not falter, do not beg. Strike, because once betrayal is known, your delay becomes weakness, mercy becomes irrelevance, and leadership dies not in blood but in hesitation. The wise ruler accepts this truth, that betrayal is not the exception in politics. It is the rhythm, the constant threat, the tax on power, and he governs not to prevent it, but to outlive it. You are not betrayed because you are hated. You are betrayed because you are powerful, and power is the one inheritance every ambitious man secretly wants to steal. They betray you slowly, so study the signs. And when the signs are clear, do not blink. Every bond is a calculation, though men like to wrap it in the velvet of sentiment. They speak of loyalty as if it were a virtue suspended in the heavens, uncorrupted and incorruptible. But in truth, loyalty is nothing but a pact of convenience, a tether tied to advantage, survival, fear, or hope. Remove these anchors, and the rope unravels. Those you think are bound to you are bound only to what you provide. Safety, glory, gold, the illusion of purpose. When these diminish, so does their devotion. They do not hate you, they simply cease to need you, and that is enough to undo any oath ever sworn in warmth or in terror. You must understand this. No one serves forever. The human heart is restless, always searching for a higher hill, a richer pasture, a safer harbor. Even the dog trained to heel will bolt if the scent of a better master drifts through the air. This is why empires fall, not from outside assaults, but because within their walls 100 small betrayals bloom, like weeds in a neglected garden. What kills the sovereign is not a single treacherous blow, but 1,000 private calculations, whispered in the shadows, until the day they erupt into a storm too great to contain. The art of rule lies in preventing that storm, or, if prevention is no longer possible, in riding its winds to destroy those who summoned it. To do this, you must train your eyes to see what others overlook, the subtle cooling of affection, the glance that lingers too long on another's rise, the hesitations in speech when your name is praised. These are not accidents, they are fault lines. They deepen in silence until they split the earth open beneath your feet. Never assume gratitude will shield you. Gratitude is the most fleeting of human sentiments. A man may thank you today for lifting him from obscurity, but tomorrow he will despise the very hand that raised him. Why? Because in his heart he must account for his dependency, and dependency breeds shame, and shame breeds hatred. The one who saved him becomes the one he resents most of all. In his rebellion, he convinces himself that it was his strength, not yours, that earned his station, and from this self-deception sprouts the seed of betrayal. Fear is a harsher tether, but even fear requires maintenance. A man cowed by your strength today will grow bold tomorrow. If he senses that strength fading, he will test the boundaries. First in whispers, then in secret alliances, then in open defiance. By the time he acts, your power is already hollowed out, your enemies already woven into your house like a parasite unseen. Delay in these moments is fatal. It is not enough to punish the traitor. You must punish the thought of betrayal before it takes form. Do not mistake this for cruelty. Cruelty is a matter of indulgence. What I speak of is necessity. The ruler who hesitates to cut away a rotting limb in the hope that it will heal poisons his entire body. The one who seeks to placate the ambitious with promises teaches them that ambition will be rewarded, and in this way he nurses his own executioner. Remember this: kindness is remembered only until it no longer serves. Fear, if properly instilled, lingers long after mercy is forgotten. There are those who will accuse you of coldness. Let them. It is better to be cold and alive than warm and in the grave. Compassion can be shown to the weak, but never to those who stand near the throne. For those closest to you are the most dangerous. They know your flaws. They know your habits. They know where to strike. The further a man stands from your power, the less he can harm you. The ones who dine at your table, who whisper in your ear, are the ones you must watch most closely. Keep them dependent. Keep them divided. If two of your ministers become too friendly, sow discord. If a general wins too many victories, recall him. If an advisor grows too beloved by the people, tarnish his reputation before his name overshadows yours. Power is not maintained by trust. It is maintained by balance. Each ambition must be played against the other so that no single man becomes strong enough to challenge you. Let them plot if they must, but let their plots entangle one another in a web of mutual suspicion. In this way, they exhaust themselves in petty rivalries while you stand untouched, the silent spider at the center of the web. Even so, expect betrayal. Plan for it as surely as you plan for war. A ruler surprised by treachery is a ruler who deserves to fall. Fortune smiles on the prepared, but she devours the naive. Do not ask why they betray you. Ask only how soon, and how deeply, and how best to make an example of them when they do. For nothing strengthens a throne like the swift and public ruin of a traitor. But understand, if you reach this point, the real failure was earlier. Betrayal is the fruit of seeds planted long before you noticed. Perhaps you trusted too freely. Perhaps you feared too little. Perhaps you allowed your circle to grow complacent, or let them dream of a future where you are absent. In every betrayal is a lesson, written in blood. Power is not a static possession. It must be renewed constantly, defended relentlessly, exercised ruthlessly. This is the curse of sovereignty. To rule is to live in a world where every smile is a calculation, every oath provisional, every hand extended a possible dagger. You must learn to walk this world without illusion, without sentimentality, without the childish hope that you can be both loved and secure. Love is fickle. Security is purchased only with vigilance, cunning, and the will to act before others do. Do not mourn this reality. Accept it. Embrace it. For when you finally strip away the falsehoods of friendship, loyalty, and gratitude, you will see the world as it is, a shifting battlefield where the strong endure, the cunning thrive, and the careless are swept into oblivion. They betray you slowly, not because they are evil, but because they are human, and to rule over humans is to master the forces that move them: hunger, fear, envy, ambition. Study these forces, and you will see betrayal long before it blooms. Fail to study them, and you will not even see the knife before it strikes. The wise ruler does not fear betrayal. He anticipates it, he prepares for it, and when the moment comes, he does not tremble, he does not hesitate, he strikes. Because in the arena of power, hesitation is death, and mercy is a luxury no throne can afford. You cannot stop them from betraying, but you can make betrayal cost them everything, and in that cost, you create the only kind of loyalty that endures: fear of your return, even from the grave. They betray you slowly, so make them regret every moment they lingered in doubt. And when the time comes to crush them, do it cleanly, do it publicly, do it completely. Leave no doubt in the hearts of those who remain. Betrayal is not worth the price. Survival lies only in your shadow. This is the law of power, immutable, merciless, and it does not care for your comfort or your virtue. It asks only, will you endure, or will you be devoured? Choose, for they already have. Power is never still. It moves like water, seeking every crack, every weakness, every void left unguarded. The ruler who believes he stands upon solid ground is already lost, because the ground beneath him is not stone, it is shifting sand, held in place only by the weight of his will. Remove that weight for even a moment, and the sand begins to move, first slowly, then in a rush, until the whole edifice sinks without warning. You must not confuse calm for security. Peace is not the natural state of human affairs. It is an interval between storms, a fragile pause sustained by the fear of force and the alignment of interests. The wise leader does not rest in these moments. He sharpens his tools, strengthens his walls, tests his allies. For peace invites rot. Men grow soft when danger is unseen. They grow insolent, whispering of new arrangements, new orders, new rulers. It is in the quiet moments that betrayal germinates. To govern is to balance opposites. You must inspire enough fear to command obedience, but not so much hatred that they long for your death more than their own lives. You must show enough favor to keep them hopeful, but not so much generosity that they think they no longer need you. Between fear and love, between cruelty and mercy, between strength and subtlety, you must tread a razor's edge, knowing that to lean too far in either direction is to fall. Those who fall are not always weak. Many are brilliant, beloved, and victorious until the day they are not. Victory breeds complacency. Success dulls caution. Surrounded by flatterers, drunk on their own legend, they forget that every ascent provokes resentment. Every display of strength invites challenge. The higher you climb, the more hands reach to pull you down, not because they despise you, but because they wish to stand where you stand. Remember, ambition is never idle. Even among your closest allies, ambition stirs quietly in the dark, waiting for opportunity. It wears the mask of loyalty until the day the mask is no longer needed. You will not see it coming, unless you have trained yourself to see it in all men, even those who profess undying service, especially them. Do not imagine that betrayal always takes the form of swords drawn in the night. Often it comes as incompetence, as hesitation, as the subtle sabotage of those who claim to act in your name, a missed order, a delayed message, a quiet refusal to commit when the stakes are high. These are the betrayals that drain a ruler's strength long before open rebellion flares. The first step in defending against treachery is to know yourself, know your vulnerabilities, know the cracks in your armor and the failings of your character, for these are the openings your enemies will seek. The leader who believes himself invulnerable is already conquered. He has blinded himself to the very faults that others will exploit. Pride is a poison in the veins of power. Cure it with discipline, with watchfulness, with the humility to recognize that every man can fall. Do not confuse control with friendship. Those who surround you may smile and bow, but their hearts are unknown territory. You cannot see into them, and if you trust blindly, you will pay the price. Control does not come from affection, it comes from leverage. Hold something they fear to lose. Bind their fortunes so tightly to your own that if you fall, they fall with you. This is not cruelty, it is survival. The structure you build around yourself is your true defense. A throne is not made of gold and silk. It is made of networks, dependencies, rivalries, and fear. Let no man grow so strong that he can stand alone. Let no alliance remain so firm that it cannot be broken. Divide and balance, always. Make them need you more than they hate you. Still, even the most careful ruler cannot prevent all betrayals. They are a law of politics, as inevitable as storms at sea. You will be betrayed. The question is not if, but when and whether you will be ready. When the moment comes, you must not flinch. To hesitate is to invite ruin. Do not seek reconciliation. Do not waste words on pleas or promises. Crush the traitor swiftly and utterly, so that all others may see the cost. Half measures breed contempt. Complete destruction breeds silence. In silence lies your safety. There is a temptation, in moments of strength, to think you have no need of fear, that your power is secure, your position unassailable. Resist this temptation. Fear is not your enemy. It is your sentinel, your warning bell, the shadow that reminds you the night is never fully conquered. Keep it close. Let it sharpen your senses, harden your will, guide your hand. To lead is to walk alone, even in the midst of a crowd. You may laugh with them, dine with them, praise them, but in your heart you must always remain apart. The ruler who longs to be loved as an equal will soon find himself overthrown by those he trusted most. Respect is born of distance, and fear is born of respect. Without these, power withers. Consider the ruler who allows himself to be seen too often, heard too casually, touched too freely. Familiarity breeds comfort, and comfort breeds contempt. Let them glimpse you rarely, and only at your strongest. Let your appearances be deliberate, your words measured, your silences heavier than your speech. In this way, you become a presence larger than any man, an idea as much as a ruler. Ideas are harder to strike down than flesh. Even as you cultivate fear, remember that raw terror alone is not enough. Fear without purpose breeds chaos. You must give them a vision, a reason to endure, a sense that their survival and success are tied to yours. Fear disciplines, but vision commands. Together, they are unbreakable. Do not expect rest. The crown is not a reward for past labors. It is the beginning of unending vigilance. Every sunrise brings new plots, new rivals, new dangers. To rule is to live in perpetual tension, never fully relaxed, never fully at ease. It is not a life of comfort, but it is the only life for those who would shape the world rather than be shaped by it. Do not shrink from this truth. Embrace it. For in the crucible of power, weakness is punished, sentimentality destroyed, illusions burned away. What remains is not a man as he was, but as he must become, hard as iron, sharp as a blade, unyielding as fate itself. They betray you slowly, and they always will. This is the price of power, the tax you pay for standing above others. Accept it, prepare for it, and when the time comes, strike so that no one forgets why you were feared. This is not cruelty. This is not malice. This is the architecture of survival. Those who cannot abide it must step aside. Those who can endure it may yet write their names in the stones of history. And in the end, when all is stripped away, only one question matters. Will you rule, or will you be ruled? Choose, before they choose for you. Power is theater. It is not enough to rule. You must be seen to rule. Perception is as vital as reality, and often more decisive. The sovereign who neglects appearances invites doubt, and doubt spreads faster than any army. You may command legions, but if the people see hesitation in your eyes, if your ministers detect uncertainty in your voice, the throne beneath you will begin to dissolve. Authority is sustained not only by force, but by the unbroken illusion of inevitability. Every gesture, every word, every silence carries weight. A ruler does not speak casually, does not laugh idly, does not reveal the depths of his mind to those who serve him. Mystery is a weapon. Let them guess your thoughts. Let them debate your intentions. When they do not know where you stand, they will tread carefully. Predictability is death. It allows others to calculate, to plan, to undermine. Keep your enemies uncertain, and even your allies wary. It is better they fear offending you than grow bold enough to test you. Men are drawn to strength. They rally to confidence as moths to a flame, even if the flame burns them. Show weakness, and even the loyal will begin to consider alternatives. A ruler cannot afford to falter in public, no matter how great the storm within. Bleed in silence, mourn in solitude. The mask you wear before the world must remain uncracked. In the performance of power, vulnerability is the final act before collapse. But understand, strength is not mere bluster. The loudest man in the room is often the weakest. True strength is silent, patient, and deliberate. It is not the roar of a lion, but the stillness of a predator before it strikes. Those who shout their dominance invite challengers eager to test them. Those who radiate quiet control make others doubt their own courage. The most effective ruler is one whose very presence constrains the room, whose silence weighs heavier than another man's rage. You must learn to read men as you read a battlefield. Each has his fears, his ambitions, his breaking point. There are those who respond to favor, those who respond to threat, and those who understand only brute force. To treat all men alike is folly. Some can be bound by honor, others only by fear of ruin. The wise ruler adapts his methods to the soul before him, molding each man as a craftsman shapes clay. Flattery is a mirror. It reflects less of you than of the one who speaks it. The man who praises you without end does not serve you. He serves himself. Praise is often the first coin spent in betrayal. It lulls you, disarms you, makes you believe that you are adored beyond question. Beware the one who never disagrees in counsel, who echoes your every word. A true ally will risk your displeasure to save your rule. A flatterer will watch you march to ruin and cheer you all the way. Yet do not confuse disagreement with loyalty. There are those who oppose you not to strengthen you, but to weaken your resolve, to sow seeds of doubt. The ruler must distinguish between the honest counselor and the saboteur. The former speaks with respect even in dissent, the latter cloaks malice in concern. Listen carefully to their words, but listen more to what they seek. Is it your success or their ascendance? Remember always that men obey not because they love you, but because they believe it is in their interest to do so. Your task is to ensure that this belief never wavers. Let them see what happens to those who defy you, not in secret, but in the open, as a lesson carved into the memory of all who might consider rebellion. The punishment of a traitor is not for justice, it is for survival. Mercy is wasted on those who would take your head if given the chance. Even so, do not be cruel for its own sake. Wanton cruelty breeds hatred, and hatred fuels conspiracies. Violence must be precise, purposeful, and proportionate. Strike only when it strengthens your position, and strike in such a way that you do not need to strike again. A single decisive act, if executed well, can secure years of peace. 100 petty punishments invite endless unrest. Learn also the power of rewards. Men crave recognition as much as they fear punishment. A well-timed favor can bind a man more tightly than chains, but give rewards sparingly. What is common is taken for granted. What is rare is treasured. When you grant favor, let it be known that it is not a right, but a privilege, bestowed only on those who prove themselves indispensable. In this way, you create a competition for your approval, and competition keeps ambitions divided. Do not imagine that you can eliminate envy. Even in a world of perfect justice, envy would persist, for it springs not from inequity but from comparison. The man who serves you faithfully today may despise you tomorrow simply because you sit higher than he dares to dream. Envy is a poison that cannot be extracted, it can only be managed. Keep the envious occupied. Give them tasks, honors, battles to fight. Idle hands turn envy into plots. Busy hands have no time to conspire. And yet, in all this, do not forget that your greatest enemy is often yourself. The desire to be loved, to be admired, to be seen as good. These are weaknesses in the heart of every ruler. Crush them. The world does not reward the good, it rewards the necessary. History does not remember the kindly king whose head was taken, but it does remember the cold sovereign who endured. You may wish for a world where loyalty is unbroken, where friends are true, where enemies respect the bounds of honor. Such a world does not exist. To lead is to accept that you walk alone, that every alliance is temporary, that every bond may one day be severed. It is a burden few can bear. But if you would rule, you must bear it be ruled by those who can. They betray you slowly because they are waiting for a moment of weakness, a lapse in vigilance, a shift in fortune, waiting for the hour when your fall seems inevitable, and their betrayal will be rewarded rather than punished. That hour comes for every ruler who forgets what he governs, not angels, but men. Not ideals, but appetites, not loyalty, but fear. When that hour approaches, let your enemies find you prepared. Let them find you unflinching. Let them find that the cost of their treachery is too high to bear, and if they persist, let them find ruin. In the end, there is no safety in power-only survival. You endure, or you are replaced. You strike, or you are struck. You command, or you are commanded. They betray you slowly, but if you master the signs, if you harden your will, if you wield fear and favor with precision, then betrayal becomes not your doom, but your test. And only those fit to rule will survive it. You must understand that there is no final victory, no moment where you can set down the burden and breathe as a man unencumbered. Power has no summit, only edges and precipices. To hold it is to stand alone at the center of storms, knowing that calm is only the pause before the next assault. You cannot leave the stage. You cannot step out of the role. The moment you grow tired of the theater, another actor steps forward and rewrites the script with your death as the closing scene. This is the truth you must accept if you wish to endure, that the crown is not a prize, but a sentence. It demands vigilance without end, cruelty without hesitation, calculation without rest. You are not permitted the luxuries of ordinary men comfort, trust, absolution. These are the illusions of the governed, not the weapons of the governor. To rule is to sacrifice your humanity so that others may indulge in theirs. And yet, for all its horrors, you will cling to it, because power is not simply held, it consumes. It shapes your soul until you can no longer imagine life without it. Even if you wished to step away, they would not let you. The world has no place for a king without a throne, a wolf without teeth. Once you have commanded, you cannot return to obedience. Once you have ruled, you cannot be ruled. So you must choose. Every day, every hour, you must choose to persist or to perish, to strike or to be struck, to harden or to break. There is no middle path. The river of politics carries no gentle shores for those who tire of swimming. You are either carried forward by its force or drowned beneath its currents. They betray you slowly because they are waiting for you to believe in permanence, waiting for you to forget that every alliance, every oath, every bond is provisional, waiting for you to falter so that they can finally release the envy and ambition they have buried in the name of loyalty. Do not grant them that satisfaction. When the hour comes, meet it as you have met every other calm, ruthless, inevitable. And if you must fall, fall in such a way that even your enemies remember why they feared you. Let your legacy be written, not in mercy or kindness, but in the iron truth that you were not a ruler to be trifled with. This is the final lesson. They will betray you, and yet you will endure not because you are loved, not because you are just, but because you understood what they never could. That power is not a possession, but a condition of existence. It is not given, it is taken, held, defended, and when necessary, taken again. You are the axis around which their world turns. Never let them forget it. Because the moment they do, it is already over.